One candidate for governor of New York doesn't just think medical marijuana is a good idea. She thinks that marijuana should be legalized across the board, and prostitution, too. And both should be taxed, she says, to close the state's budget gap. That candidate is Kristin Davis, also known as the Manhattan Madam, infamous for supplying prostitutes to former Governor Eliot Spitzer. And she joins us now to talk about her campaign to run the state. So, Kristin, we had a little bit of a hiccup because you were supposed to be here on Monday, but you called at the last minute to tell us that your parole officer had shown up unexpectedly at your apartment and you had to cancel?
Sure. I'm subject to surprise home visits, which sometimes include the search of my apartment for a nonviolent crime. Seems a little absurd.
Well, usually, politicians generally don't have parole officers until well after they've been in office for a while, and you've got one already. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage in your campaign?
Saving the voters time and money by already having a felony record.
It does occur to me you might be running so you can pardon yourself.
No, these are issues that I care very deeply about, the legalization of prostitution and marijuana and gay marriage. So,
do you know how big the budget gap is right now?
Sure, over $9 billion.
Have you calculated how many joints and other things under your theory of legalizing prostitution and marijuana you'd have to sell to be able to balance the budget?
Well, what I have calculated is how much revenue it will bring in. So if you look at what, model of California, we would bring in about $3 billion in new revenues to this state, which we desperately need.
Why do you think that running a business where everybody sold their virtue to the highest bidder qualifies you to run Albany? Wait, that's a dumb question, isn't it?
It seems somewhat in line with what's going on upstate. All of the politicians are corrupt. Look at the string of dirty politicians we've had, from our comptroller to Spitzer, potentially Patterson, Massa, Joe Bruno. The list is limitless.
How do you feel about Eliot Spitzer?
I think he's symptomatic of the problem that we're experiencing here. He set a precedent that these career politicians can betray the public trust and commit crimes and go unpunished. And we've seen it, even Patterson now. So it's unfortunate that the New Yorkers don't take their state back.
When you were supplying prostitutes to Governor Spitzer, and before that, I think, even before he was governor, did you know that client number 9 was Eliot Spitzer?
No idea. But I supplied him with call girls when he was both Attorney General and actually going after people committing those crimes and making examples out of them. So there's a huge level of hypocrisy behind what he was doing.
According to your resume, you were a hedge fund vice president at the age of 25, and then you made a segue into the sex business. Why did you do that? The economics of sex were appealing. I worked in the back office of a hedge fund. I made, 6 figures, but it was always taking crap from everyone, and I put together a market analysis on the sex industry and decided that seemed to be a lucrative and appealing endeavor. Unfortunately, I didn't think about the legal ramifications of my actions and then ended up in jail. 4 months.
4 months in Rikers, which was not a cakewalk. Again, mandatory strip searches, standing there for 15 minutes, nude, bend and squat, while 15 men and women officers check you out, degrade you, being withheld food, sitting in a unit where everyone else was a murderer, and yet the person associated with this crime walks away unpunished.
You're talking about the governor?
Sure, chief executive officer of our state.
But you were committing crimes, too.
Of course, and I served the time for them and have come back with, a role as an advocate, which is something I believe in. He has yet to serve any time, and the entire string of corrupt politicians here in New York have yet to serve any time. They walk away unpunished, and they're supposed to be representing 18 million people in the state of New York. What does that say about our system?
At the height of your success, when you were running an escort service, you claim it was the biggest in the world. You had 20,000 customers, clients?
20 to 30.
What were you making then?
Number of millions of dollars. The state of New York took all of those millions of dollars, so technically I've contributed to our deficit.
Yeah, we still have a big deficit, though. Obviously, you weren't working hard enough at that.
I wasn't working that hard.
So, realistically, Kristin, why are you doing this?
I'm running to advocate a series of reforms here in New York. These are issues, the legalization, taxation, and regulation of both prostitution and marijuana, I believe very strongly in. Jalissa Brisman was a girl that used to work for me who was killed by the Craigslist murderer, Philip Markoff. And he was caught with dozens of trophies in his house, had one of those women that he abused actually felt comfortable going forward, she would still be alive. At that point in time, I decided to become an advocate and move forward in that.
All right. Well, keep us posted on the campaign and how it progresses.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
And give our regards to your parole officer, too, okay? Kristin Davis, thanks for coming in.